Hi, Bas van Abel. You're the CEO of Fairphone. What is the goal of Fairphone?
Well, the goal of Fairphone is multiple goals actually, but in the core, I would actually say it's still a campaign. It's raising awareness around basically everything in the supply chain, and that it's a holistic kind of view we should have on both our roles as consumers, as shareholders, as companies, as all the people involved into the complexity of making a technological product. But on the other hand, besides the campaign aspect, we also decided to use the production of a phone as the means to actually tell that story and show that things can be done and take it step by step. So by making the phone, we're trying to find out why the things are the way they are, because no one can understand the complexity of the full supply chain, and by doing that we can surface problems and see how we can solve them.
Okay. And how do you practically try to reach the goals making a fair phone?
Well, like I said, we take it step by step. So we look at different areas. So you cannot, the complexity of the supply chain is that if you aim only at mining, for example, to create better working conditions in mining or factories. Mining is a good example because in the end, mining as a practice is you can increase, you can better the worker conditions, but it's bad for the environment. So on the other hand, you have to look at what are the business models? How do you put phones into the market? What is the responsibility as a company into taking care of the recycling of your products? And because it's so big, we said we have to do it. We just have to start and create a debate around it, because that debate will also be a means to actually come to solutions to some of these problems. And then, eventually, we hope that through showing improvement and enough, social innovation in our own supply chain, that we can influence also other bigger brands' supply chain and eventually the whole industry to move forward.
We are here at the labor union IG Metall. What precisely do you do about labor conditions?
Well, for our labor conditions focus are on 3 areas, I would say, but we have to acknowledge that labor conditions also, even in the shipping or the logistics, or they're all around everywhere. But our focus currently is on the labor conditions in the mines, on some of the minerals. There are more than 30 minerals in a phone, and we focus on conflict minerals currently. And on the labor conditions in the factories, and labor conditions in the health and safety around the take back of the e-waste, the electronic waste. And what we're exactly doing is, I can mention, for example, a worker welfare fund. It's a fund we've set up with a democratic election around it in the factories in China. So we try to stimulate worker management dialogue through a fund where workers actually have a say on how money is spent, on what kind of things, and how they benefit from it.
Okay. You already said it's a campaign, but do you think your way of producing a phone is a possible way for everyone, or do you think your product has to be a niche product?
Well, both. I think I said it's a campaign. We started as a campaign, but on the real core, I would say, of what we are is that we are a social enterprise, and we chose to be a company. We have a commercial model, and we use that commercial model to create change, to create impact. The great thing about that thinking, I think, is that it's something that's sustainable for the future for any company, because that means that at the core of what you do, you actually say, no, we're not only using profits and purely commercial reasons and economic reasons, financial reasons as a driver, but we also use human and sustainable aspects as a driver, and we're going to measure that. So I would say, as a model, it's possible for every company, As a practice, I would say, our supply chain is small and we can be innovative. And I wouldn't go into like making it more difficult for us to be innovative if we're going to be a huge player. And that's not our goal to become the biggest player in the market, because the commercial model for us is just a means to an end to create impact.